25 Cromwell Street, an address that has become synonymous with horror and tragedy, an address etched into the nation's memory, a place where the unimaginable became reality, a nondescript house on an ordinary street harbouring an extraordinary evil. It was a place that seemed so normal, yet concealed the darkest of secrets. It was here, in the heart of Gloucester, that Fred and Rosemary West committed unspeakable acts that would forever stain the history of this quiet city. Their victims, young women, lured into a web of depravity from which there was no escape, innocent lives drawn into a nightmare, never to return. Their crimes, a litany of torture, rape and murder, shocked a nation. The brutality and sheer inhumanity of their actions left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. The world watched in horror as the details unfolded. News reports and headlines brought the gruesome reality into living rooms across the globe. 9 young women, their bodies buried within the house and garden. Each one a tragic story, each one a life cut short by unimaginable cruelty. Their lives cut short, their stories silenced. Families left to mourn, forever haunted by the loss of their loved ones. The true extent of the West's crimes may never be known, the house forever shrouded in an aura of dread, a place that will always be remembered for the horrors it concealed. This is the story of Fred and Rosemary West, a story of monstrous appetites and unimaginable cruelty. A story of monstrous appetites and unimaginable cruelty. A tale that reveals the darkest corners of human nature. A story that continues to haunt us. The legacy of 25 Cromwell Street is one of horror, a chilling reminder of the evil that can lurk behind closed doors. Fred West, a man born into poverty and neglect, grew up in a world where love was a foreign concept. His early years were marked by a relentless struggle for survival, surrounded by an environment that was as unforgiving as it was bleak. His upbringing, a brutal cocktail of violence and depravity, left deep scars on his psyche. The constant exposure to brutality and the absence of any nurturing presence shaped him into a person who knew only how to inflict pain. Rosemary Letts, equally scarred, sought solace in a world that offered little but pain. Her childhood was a mirror image of Fred's, filled with abuse and neglect, leaving her with a fractured sense of self and a desperate need for acceptance. Their paths collided, 2 damaged souls drawn together by a shared darkness. In each other, they found a twisted form of companionship, a bond forged in the fires of their mutual suffering. Their relationship, a toxic blend of domination and control, became a breeding ground for their darkest impulses. Together they created a world where cruelty was the norm and compassion was a weakness. Fred, the architect of their shared perversions, and Rosemary, a willing accomplice, embarked on a journey that would leave a trail of devastation in their wake. Their actions were a testament to the depths of human depravity. Their home, a place where innocence was extinguished and evil reigned supreme, stood as a silent witness to their heinous acts. It was within these walls that they orchestrated their reign of terror. Together, they embarked on a reign of terror, preying on the vulnerable and the unsuspecting. Their partnership was a dark symbiosis, each feeding off the other's malevolence. Their victims, often vulnerable runaways seeking refuge in the supposed kindness of strangers, were lured into a trap from which there was no escape. These innocent souls, looking for a better life, found themselves ensnared in a nightmare. Little did they know, they were stepping into a nightmare, a place where their cries for help would go unheard and their hopes for rescue would be in vain. The West's home became a tomb for the lost and the forgotten, a place where evil thrived unchecked. Fred and Rosemary West were masters of manipulation. They presented a facade of normalcy, of warmth and generosity. They offered food, shelter and the promise of friendship, a cruel charade designed to lure unsuspecting victims into their web of horror. Once inside 25 Cromwell Street, the facade would drop. The victims, trapped, subjected to unimaginable horrors, their lives reduced to a cycle of abuse and degradation. Fred and Rosemary, their appetites insatiable, their cruelty boundless. Their crimes, fueled by a toxic mix of sadism and sexual perversion, knew no bounds. The house, a prison, its walls echoing with the silent screams of their victims. 25 Cromwell Street, a house transformed into a macabre theatre of cruelty. Each room bore witness to unspeakable acts. The cellar, a dungeon where victims were chained, abused, and ultimately discarded. The garden, a graveyard. The bodies of young women buried beneath patios and flower beds. Their remains, a testament to the horrors inflicted upon them. The house, a silent witness, its very fabric imbued with the darkness that unfolded within its walls. Even today, years after the horrors were unearthed, the house remains a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity. Section 5. Unearthing the Depths of Despair. February 1994, a missing persons case. A teenage girl last seen at 25 Cromwell Street. The police, their suspicions aroused, obtained a search warrant. What they found would send shockwaves across the nation. The garden yielded its secrets. Human remains buried beneath the earth. The house, a charnel house, its walls concealing a horrifying truth. The nation watched in disbelief as the full extent of the West's crimes was revealed. The house, once a place of ordinary life, became a symbol of unimaginable evil. Section 6. The trial and its aftermath. The trial of Fred and Rosemary West was a media sensation. The public, captivated and appalled in equal measure, followed every twist and turn. Fred, in a final act of cowardice, took his own life in prison, leaving Rosemary to face justice alone. Rosemary West, protesting her innocence, was found guilty of 10 counts of murder. She was sentenced to life in prison, her crimes deemed so heinous that she would never be released. The trial may be over, but the scars left by the West's crimes run deep. Section 7. Scars on the nation's psyche. The crimes of Fred and Rosemary West sent shockwaves through British society. The sheer brutality of their crimes, the number of victims, and the cold-blooded nature of their actions left an indelible mark on the national psyche. The case sparked a national debate about child protection, domestic violence, and the role of the authorities. How could such horrors have gone undetected for so long? How many others suffered at the hands of the Wests? The questions lingered long after the trial had ended, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. Section 8. Beyond the grave. Even in death, Fred West cast a long shadow. His suicide, a final act of defiance, robbed his victims of the chance to see him face justice. Rosemary West, incarcerated for life, remains a figure of fascination and revulsion. Over the years, there have been numerous books, documentaries, and television dramas about the case, each attempting to make sense of the senseless, to understand the depths of depravity that drove the Wests. Yet, the true horror of their crimes defies explanation. Section 9. The enduring shadow of 25 Cromwell Street. 25 Cromwell Street no longer stands. The house, once a symbol of unspeakable horror, has been reduced to an empty plot of land. Overgrown grass now covers the ground where the walls once held dark secrets. The house, demolished in 1996, its foundations dug up and the ground salted. This act was not just about removing a physical structure, but an attempt to cleanse the very earth of the atrocities committed there. A symbolic gesture, an attempt to erase the horrors that unfolded within its walls. The salting of the earth was meant to ensure that nothing would grow there again, a stark metaphor for the lives that were irrevocably destroyed. But the memory of the house and the crimes committed there endures. Old photographs and footage serve as a grim reminder of the past, a past that refuses to be forgotten. A stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of ordinary life. In a quiet suburban neighbourhood where everything seems peaceful, the shadows of 25 Cromwell Street still whisper their chilling tales. A cautionary tale whispered from generation to generation, a warning that monsters can wear many faces. The whispers serve as a reminder that evil often hides in plain sight, behind familiar and trusted facades. The legacy of 25 Cromwell Street is a haunting one. It lingers in the collective memory, a ghostly presence that refuses to fade away. A reminder that evil can flourish anywhere, even in the most ordinary of places. The story of 25 Cromwell Street serves as a chilling testament to the fact that darkness can reside where we least expect it, in the heart of the everyday.